Okay, and welcome back. It is our latest interview, and we are welcomed today by an exciting powerhouse creating team who, with their web series, wrote, directed, and acted. We are joined by Marshall and Sangeetha. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi, thank you, Chris. Hi, welcome.
Welcome. How are you guys doing? All right?
Yeah, we're going good.
Good. Yeah, it's a bit early here in Australia, but you know, it's a good morning.
It's good morning.
And it's a lovely evening here in the UK.
Yeah, that's it.
And that is just coffee as well, actually. That is just coffee.
Are you sure about that?
I am. Other days I wouldn't be as honest, but today that's definitely coffee. Yeah, you're fine today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant. So why don't you just give us some background really about yourselves as filmmakers and creators? What was your background leading into this project? What had you kind of done up to this point?
Marshall and I, we met as actors actually. I've been doing a bit of writing since I was a kid though, and Marshall was really into filmmaking. So like after a while, like, you know, with acting especially, you're kind of waiting around between auditions, and we kind of hated that. I think we're both people who like to keep busy.
Yeah.
So we were like, oh, why don't we start creating our own content?
Mm-hmm.
And so we started with a 40-minute short film, which was about mental health and sort of adolescence. And then from there, I don't know, we just like, why don't we do another project? And it turned into this huge thing. We had no idea it was going to become like this. But yeah, that's where the series came about.
Yeah, like Sangeetha said, we started out as actors, but we kind of went into filmmaking. But once we did one film, we realized we loved it because we're such creative people. We love the process of it, from pre-production to shooting to post-production, even like editing, like yourself. We really enjoy that process and just making something that, you know, we really can be proud of, and something that's like, oh, I really always had this idea, but no one's made it. So why don't we just go make it? Mm-hmm. So I think that was very enjoyable, and it's a good thing that it turned out that way.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's really tremendous what you've just kind of touched on there, which is the fact, you know, if you've got the skills at hand and you can do it, and you see something that hasn't been done and something that you think, you know, I can do that, you can just get on with it and do it. You know what I mean? You don't need to wait for anyone's permission or, you know, the big financing. If you really want to make it nowadays, filmmakers have all these talents at their disposal where they can just crack on and do it. And just a shout out as well to that film you was talking about, was that Lost Focus, your film you made, your film that won Best Mental Health Awareness at Sydney Indie Film Festival as well. So well done. I've done my research. I thought they've played that down. That's big enough. But that's
well, that was a film that was very personal to you.
Yeah, it was. It was very personal. It was the first project we really sort of made together. And it was personal because it sort of detailed things that I went through as an adolescent when I was 15. And so I just really wanted to spread awareness on that, really. And so it was really awesome to win that award for it as well.
I think through that as well, we realized that the projects that we do the best in are normally the ones that, like, we put our own personal stories, and it's not like a autobiography, but we just put parts of our own lives in it. And that's what makes it really passionate for us to make it.
I was going to say on that, how important would you say it is to kind of say things from the heart and shoot from what you know and stuff? How important or interesting is it to do that, would you say?
I think for us, like, we find we connect the most, obviously, to something that's personal to us, and we have the most passion for it. And, you know, as well as it's awesome to do something for fun, for us it means a lot when we're reaching people and we're spreading awareness on things that other people have gone through as well. Yeah, what would you say?
I'm like, I don't know. It's kind of messed up. I always do the best when I'm kind of writing like traumatic, pieces where it's like
Okay.
maybe at one point in my life I felt like a lot of pain, and I make it into a film and I express it, and then for some reason it always works.
But that's great therapy as well, isn't it? Surely that's great therapy to, you know, even if you got negative thoughts about something, you think, well, let's try and put that into a frame of mind for a project or a character, or
Of course.
So I think even negativity, I think you can then think, yeah, let's use this energy. If you're angry, let's put that in, and that's a beautiful thing to try and do as well, isn't it? So that's if you have done that or are doing that, I think that's tremendous as well.
Thank you.
And a lot of truth usually comes from those things, I think, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Always,
Lots.
Brilliant. So you've had a fantastic kind of start. You've got into your kind of filmmaking stuff. And what was the kind of first revelation about, say, web series and things? When did that kind of come onto your radar, that this is an exciting format, this is something maybe you want to go into? How did that come about?
Honestly, like
I know the answer.
There's all these nervous looks of like, what the...
Okay, I think I think I know. With Social Murderer, our project that we featured onto your thing, we were on a bus and we were thinking about social media and different ways that people have been affected by it. And we just thought of different instances, and we're like, there should be different characters to express them. And I was like, well, the web series makes sense, right?
Yeah.
The short film doesn't make sense. And
no, because like, there were like so many different topics that we wanted to touch on, and we felt like we couldn't really do that through just one character going through all these different things. So we had all these separate ideas that could have worked as short films on their own. But we're like, it's all encompassed, so why don't we just make a series? And obviously doing it on our own, it became a web series because, you know.
Prior to that, we never thought about web series, but it's just the thing that I think within that time and maybe a few years before, web series became more of a thing. You know, after social media and stuff, it just became so much accessible just to make a web series
and watch something
and distribute it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyone could do it.
And then we sort of, you know, researching into seeing like how many web series festivals are out there, which is so awesome, and all the different content creators are making right now. Yeah,
I'm sure you watch a lot of them.
I did last year, certainly. That was our first year, and so that was tremendous. But I think when you're creative yourself, it's fascinating watching everyone else's work, and it's great because literally you are impressed and you think that's great. And when I was reading when you submitted yours, and I was reading the synopsis you send and the details, and even from that it sounded like a really engaging contemporary project, and multi-layered, like you were saying. It doesn't follow just one character, it follows several characters on the journey. So why don't you just give me the breakdown then? Pitch us Social Murder. What's it all about?
Well, it's really a social mirror to society as we know it. So it's very realistic. Like, we've had a few comparisons to Black Mirror, and that Black Mirror takes the world as it is and what it could be, whereas with ours, it's kind of what the world is right now. And, how people are using social media, how it's affecting them. That's what it's all about. It's just a mirror. It's really honest. It's probably a bit raw, but it's the truth.
That's it. I think you said it all. If you have a phone, if you have a social media account, then this film you can relate to, which is a lot of people in the world today, So I think it's relatable.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's as relatable as you can get, really, isn't it? Because like you say, everyone's got a phone, everyone's doing it, everyone's kind of logging in. And you think it's important to try and touch on a film that goes into this kind of revelation of the phones, doesn't it? Because that does affect mental health really as well, doesn't it? People go into they create profiles for themselves and they forget that's just a profile, that's not really them, don't they? And how important do you think it is to do that, do you think?
As in to
just to kind of create a film that highlights the potential kind of dangers of technology and how it affects.
No, it's I think it's very important because, you know, when we're in that world of, in our phones and in our social media accounts, sometimes you can get so sucked in because you got so many things that are like appeasing to, like, you know what I mean? It draws you in, that we forget to kind of like step back and take a step and then just look at it for what it really is, like all the rawness and stuff like that. And I think we notice, especially our friends and sometimes ourselves, we just get so into it. But then when you look at someone else, you're like, wow, like I didn't know it's become this bizarre in some circumstances.
It's, I feel like it's really changed the world. And I think, you know, because we're 90s kids, we grew up just without the phones, whereas I have a brother who's early 2000s, who's grown up with the phones, and I just can't imagine what that's like. You know, it's really become people's lives, and you know, there's things on it like you can mute people, you can block people, like you can't do that in real life. Like you can stalk people. It's just crazy.
So I think it's pretty important, and also I like the point you made. It ties back to the mental health aspect, which is something we always like to put in like bits of the themes. So I just, hopefully it's like what do you say, like a slice of time that if people in the future, they can watch it back, they'll be like, wow, so it was kind of a bit like this.
Hopefully it's not worse.
Because I think you're at a kind of boiling point really with the mental health aspect at the minute. I think it is kind of coming to a head now, because I think more and more governments and people are kind of acknowledging it and acknowledging it is having an effect. And it's probably never been worse with technology the way it is now. It can connect people, but it can also isolate people as well, can't it? So brilliant. But yeah, so what a great topic, and I applaud you for putting it together, really. So moving straight on to that then, I normally ask people, you know, kind of before they began filming, kind of what budget was they looking at? And you've got an interesting story on that, haven't you, I think? So what was your budget on Social Murderer?
It was minus.
It was minus. So like, because like we started, you know, we produced the whole thing ourselves as well, and like we're broke actors. And so the thing about this was we did not expect it to get to the size that it did. So it started with just the two of us, and like, okay, we have 8 episodes, 1 character per episode.
How hard could it be?
Yeah, how hard could it be? And then we had meeting after meeting. We started collaborating with all these people. It just turned into this mass, like 90 casting crew. I'm still shocked about that. I just can't. But it's really incredible, like what we've managed to do with all these creators who've come on board and helped us out with it. Like,
I think in terms of budget wise, Chris, we were like, literally it was out of our pockets. You know, every week we get the paycheck from work, and then we'd be like, how much of this are we going to sacrifice to put into this film? And sometimes I feel like it was like to the point where it's like, oh, if I invest in this film, then I'm going to have a pretty terrible week. But the end goal was always, we started this project, we have so many people who are part of it, we cannot just drop it. We need to, like, whatever happens, we need to sacrifice a lot of things to get this film going. And, you know, we collaborated and we pulled a lot of strings to get locations and stuff. So it was a very big team effort. It wasn't just us, it was everyone that made it possible.
Brilliant. I mean, and I applaud you for that, because that's the journey of the filmmakers. And
that's,
you know, you're not always given grants, you're not always given budgets, and you know, I know firsthand, you know, the budget's what's in your pockets. That's how I've done a lot of my films, you know. So it's you know, and it's tough. You've got to bet on yourself, haven't you, and invest in yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what you guys have done, and I completely applaud you for it, because obviously.
No, likewise. I'm sure you were like an artist like us, so you understand that, you know, how important it is to put something out there that's, you know, that you really, really, really want to do it, because, you know, you have your heart into it, and no matter what happens, that's like an artist.
Yeah, you got to believe in your art and put it together, and that's tremendous. And so you've got this together. Did you write every episode first before you started? Did you?
Yeah. So I think we both had different writing styles. So we both were allocated 4 episodes.
Okay.
For me,
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah, for me,
no fighting.
No fighting. So you do your 4, I do my 4.
That's it. But yeah, for me, when it comes to my writing, I'm very like I'm a bit of a perfectionist, but I like to have the script set. I don't like to sort of improvise or change anything. I just like to have that clear vision. This is what it is. This is what it's going to be. But
I think mine was the opposite.
Yeah.
Just go through so much things, and then even like on the day, we're like, oh wait, let's try this idea.
Yeah.
It's like very spontaneous. So it's good that we had that 4-4 split.
Oh, yeah.
And luckily, it actually didn't look too different.
Yeah, no, turned out all right.
Yeah.
That's good.
No fights.
I would like to see them if they did. That would be the problem.
Oh man.
That's great. So you've got your scripts, you split them in half, did 4 each there. And so you've got your scripts, you're going to direct it yourselves, you know the vision. So I know you said you had lots of people involved. So how did you then begin the casting? So obviously you're both actors, so it's a natural resource to use yourself. Yeah. And you're going to turn up on time as well, because that's one of the beauties of doing that. So what was it like with casting? Tell me a bit about that. Where did you get the team from?
I'll let you answer this one.
Okay, well, yeah, casting was, so, we have websites here like Star Now.
Yeah,
I know that's over in the UK.
Yeah, there is, yeah.
Yeah, so that's where we went first. I mean, given it was an unpaid project as well, because it was collaboration. So we went there first, and then we just, Marshall's father had a space that we could use, which we're very fortunate about to hold the auditions in. But it was a very long process. I mean, we were sort of casting throughout. We had a big one at the start, but then we were having casting throughout the project. And I remember we also had a lot of meetings at a local food court.
Yes, I was waiting for you to say that. The Broadway food court?
Yeah.
After that initial 1-day casting, there was still a lot of gaps to be filled. So every time we had a meeting, and it wasn't like in groups, it was just individual meetings, we'd be like, because in Sydney, there's a known place in the city. And we're like, do you know Broadway food court? And they're like, yeah. And then we just meet up. So we had, 20?
I would easily say we went there 100 times, like no exaggeration, because, we had this many people involved in the actual thing, but to get those specific people, you need to go through other people and like who's good, who works, that kind of thing.
I haven't been back to that food court ever since.
I'm scarred from that food court.
Brilliant.
That's how casting. Yeah, that's how casting went.
And what was the total cast number? You said it was a big cast, didn't you say?
Yeah, so around 50, I'd say, or 50 to 60, and then about 30 crew as well.
Yeah. But no, the thing is, it wasn't like 30 crew how they're all on set at once.
No.
It's because we had 8 episodes, so each episode.
Spread them out. I'm with you.
Yeah, it's like Hollywood, just 30 people.
I'm glad you said that's what I was thinking. I thought, well, I said, you should pat yourselves on the back. I was thinking that's 30 crew members in the room. That's a pretty.
Yeah. It wasn't 50 people or 50 casts just in one room. It was just spread out.
Yeah.
And saying, how did the kind of audition process go with actually the cast? Was there anyone that really surprised you? Was there some brilliant casting when you think they're brilliant, they just nailed it? Or what was that like? But especially considering you wrote the material as well, it must be a bit of who's going to bring this to justice, this script.
I think it was I always find casting really fun because, you know, you have some people who come in that are exactly what you had in mind and they just fit it perfectly, which we had a few of those. But then you have other people who come in and they do it in their own way that you just weren't thinking of, and you're like, wow, that's actually really awesome. Like, I just want to take them and fit them into this mold now. And we had a few people that I think for you especially, like with episode 2,
yes,
there were guys, they just improvised and they just really became the character, which was just, it's really exciting to see that.
Yeah, of course. You know, you write a script, you have a character in your mind, and you know, as actors, we always look for genuinity. Like, we always look for like a real performance. So the characters that I wrote, when the actors came in, I looked for people who were like basically that character, or who was very similar to that character and had that. They didn't need to do too much, or they didn't need to force a performance. They could just be that character. So that's definitely what I looked for when casting, and it worked. It
did. Yeah,
really did. I was like, there was one actress I remember, because for episode 2, there was a lot of girls coming in for that role, and at the end of the day, there was one girl who came in and she read it, and it was exactly how I imagined it. And at the end of the casting, I remember I shouted. I was like, yes. Yes. And I was like, that's how you do it. And then she obviously got, you know, the role.
And you give her a shout out.
Shout out to Hannah Kim. You did a great job in episode 2. So that was you. And you know it.
Otherwise, you might have someone home saying, I hope he's talking about me. Oh, terrific. That's brilliant. That's brilliant when you get it right and you think that's your work and you know someone's going to bring it to life. That's magic, isn't it? So yeah. So when you say you're shouting and stuff, you think, yeah, you can believe it, because that's great. That's great news for a creator, isn't it? So you've got your script, you've got your cast, you've not got the budget, but who has? You know what I mean? So it's like, what was the actual shooting schedule like? How long did it take to shoot the whole thing, would you say? Was it quite stretched out, or?
It was very stretched out. So I think it was from about August we did auditions, and then the filming did really stretch out. It wasn't all at once. It was kind of like days here and there because people's schedules as well.
It wasn't like 8 episodes, 8 days, because within the 8 episodes, there are different locations.
Yeah.
So you got to do different days for even one episode.
Yeah. So there was quite a few days for just one episode alone. I would say it stretched from about September to January was kind of the block.
There was a bit of a break during December for Christmas, obviously.
Yeah.
But after that, we just had one episode left. So we finished in January. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, and because obviously shooting it, it looks fantastic. It's I think it was Black Magic you shot on, was it, that you had there?
Yeah, it was Blackmagic and Canon C300.
Yes.
No, it's because visually, especially that first kind of episode, is that in the diner? Is it that you're in the kind of cafe?
Yeah,
that was lovely.
That was Blackmagic.
Yeah,
just visually, and the direction looks very nice, looks great, and you kind of when you're judging something like in the festival, you notice all these things straight away, and you think that looked just a really nice production value as well. Now, so it's good.
Thank you. We really wanted to push ourselves for this project, and if we saw something that wasn't quite like to the standard that we needed it to be, we would just call each other out, or we would just try to improve it, saying, hey, like, you know, like, because I remember, Chris, the first episode actually was not that. We shot it one day. It was terrible. And was doing the edit. There was no lighting and it was just terrible. And I was like saying to Sangeetha, I said, we have to do this again. Like the first episode, it deserves better.
Yeah, and it needs to be good, the first episode.
The first thing anyone sees, it cannot be this quality. So we definitely try to push for that standard. And yeah, I'm pretty proud with it, the outcome.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, just as a kind of a shout out to creators, it's important what you've said there, because I when we judge things, we make sure that we watch every single episode of a series, because by logic, technically your last episode should be your best if it's a finale. But I know certain festivals, they may only just watch the first episode.
Yeah,
I think that's nuts, really, because you know, if you really want to judge, you got to see the last one and the journey. So, so it's really important what you've said there, to make sure your first episode's right, because a lot of places won't go any further than that. So if you think, no, episode 3 is the best one, you think, oh fuck, you're not going to see it. So that's the shame of it.
Yeah, no, I understand that, because you know, people, they have like time.
Yeah,
they need to manage their time, and like if you're watching like 100 web series, like it's a lot. You know, I'm sure you've spent a lot of time, more than your share, watching things. So yeah, I respect that.
I'm enjoying these interviews now, because I've obviously seen everyone's work. And it's like, then you get to kind of now interact and talk to people that you've seen. So yeah, it's nice. But yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff. But I say, and I've enjoyed it as well. It's you know, it's that's what they're designed to be, I guess, as well. I mean, because you know, there's so many different web series out there, and everyone's got a chance to use their own voice and stuff. And you're seeing people's stories from around the world. So it's it's fantastic. In a way, judging these last year with the team was kind of just like having a new TV channel with all this kind of interesting content on. Yeah, so that was really nice. So yeah, brilliant. Completely forgot what we're up to there, because that's the nice thing when we take these conversations off. We just kind of go on a journey, which is nice. So, so in terms of directing, then, did you do it like the script writing and split the episodes, or did you just direct them together each episode, or what was the structure there of directing?
Yeah, so if we wrote an episode, we would direct that episode. So it was just at the same time, though, we assistant directed on each episode for the other person. Yeah. So we had that other sort of head, you know, helping out a little bit with that.
Yeah, I think the idea is, if you write the script, then you have a very clear idea of how you want the episode to be and the characters. So it's very logical that you would, you know, direct it as well, if there's no other director.
Yeah.
So yeah, but definitely having two heads is like, you know, I think that's our strength. We're like a couple, but we are like, you know, two heads in one at the same time.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, if I'm, especially if I'm acting in something, because, you know, we both acted in the episodes that we directed as well. It was good to have another person to sort of be like, hey, can you tell me, am I actually doing a good job, or what should I do better?
It's very hard to direct yourself.
It's very hard, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the easy way to do things, as I again know firsthand as well. But a lot of times, what you've done there could be the difference between getting the job done and not getting the job done. You know what I mean? You could have, you could still be waiting now if you were trying to get directors in and you were trying to cast those main parts or whatever. You could, and if you haven't got the budget, you could quite easily just still be waiting, saying 2021 we're going to make it or something, or 2022 we're trying to. So
I think that's budget filmmaking. It's like trying to, when you don't have those resources, you got to try to be like, how many roles can I take? And you got to just try to take as many as you can and just like do them as well as possible. And I think for us, we had like, how many roles did we have?
Can't count.
Too many.
So many.
Yeah. Every step we were part of, like even marketing, we were heads of marketing, heads of promotion.
I know, and because this project was so important to us, you know, we really wanted to get it done. As you said, we didn't want it waiting like longer and longer. And because we had a few issues even with the post-production process when it's all about to be finished. And then we had to take on learning about sound design and sound mixing ourselves because we just wanted to get it done. We didn't want to rely on someone, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a lot of work, but
it's a tricky business because, you know, you're like, you have no budget, so you just try to collaborate with people, but sometimes it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of stories, even through the people we know, that, oh, they've made a project and now they've hired an editor, but the editor never got, like, they were doing it for so many months, and then one day they were just saying, hey, sorry, I don't think I want to edit this anymore. And then they've just wasted so many months down the drain. Like, you laugh, but it happens a lot.
That's terrible.
It happens a lot. It happens. Almost happened to us.
Yeah. But yeah, I know it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, say I've had some semi-famous local actors, you know, offer to get involved in a film, but if they're not going to commit, it's no fucking good, is it? You know what I mean? If you're not going to turn up and do it, it's no good to me. So yeah,
there's a lot of, I think that's the big thing. There's a lot of responsibility you need to take especially when you're starting out, and when things go wrong, you have to take that responsibility. So whatever you do, you have to have tunnel vision. You have to be so focused on it. And you always have to be 2 steps ahead. If something goes wrong, you have to know immediately how to fix it.
I can relate so much to what you're talking about firsthand. It's almost becoming like therapy for me, just talking about it. It's literally, on every level I've done the same thing. So it's, 100%.
And you've probably done it on a bigger level, so you should be telling us, you know, like...
I think every project's kind of the same in a way, you know, it's just, you might get a bigger budget, but you still got the same problems, you know what I mean? So it's like, you know, we're still making the same films I was making as a 10-year-old boy, but just now we've got a 20 grand camera, you know, but it's the same, you know, it's the same thing, but it's ridiculous. And when we started this feature film, we tried to begin with proper step up in the production, but we ended up dismantling it all down into guerrilla filmmaking, and suddenly production speed picked up again. I thought, this is where we live, this is where we enjoy, and it's great. So was there any and on that same type of topic, was there any like low budget techniques and tips you could offer anyone from your production, things you did to save on money with shooting style locations or anything? Or
I think just really sort of scouting around and talking to people, because like a lot of the locations we got was through friends or connections through friends. So really like asking, I think, is a good thing, because, you know, you can be sort of shy about it because you're not paying anyone and you're like, oh, I don't know if I should ask, but you just got to do it sometimes. And that's when you can find the best things, I think.
Yeah, don't be afraid of asking. Like, you know, because if you never ask and nothing ever gets made, you know, and some people, they actually do really support you and they really want you to be successful in this journey. Like my dad, for instance, you know, I asked him about a location that he has and he's like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
So I think that saved us.
Oh, it did.
So many times.
Yeah, especially the episode 6, the party scene. So our location cancelled on us the night before, and that was the biggest set, like the biggest cast and crew. Everyone was emailed. A lot of
extras, a lot of people.
And so we were freaking out the night before, but thankfully Marshall's dad had a space that we could sort of take and just try and make work. And it worked.
Yeah. And, you know, the other thing with tips on budget is, I think, you know, you might feel like a bit afraid that you don't have much. And, you know, it's like, oh, well, we don't have much, so can we really make a great film? But honestly, if you have the eye, if you understand cinema and you know how to light something, or you know how to make something really good, like develop a character, it doesn't take money to have talent, you know, or hard work in that fact.
Hard work,
So just really, really study what you're after,
Yeah.
And you can make something even with no budget. I mean, we did something out of nothing.
Yeah, we've done a lot of projects on.
So nothing's impossible.
Yeah, that's a great quote, because that's the nature of it, isn't it? I think that's great. Don't be intimidated by anything, and like you say, that's the beauty of it, is it? If you don't let the fear get to you, and you know, you can make, you know, $1 million film, but you can make it your way on your budget. You know what I mean? Don't, especially now, there's never been a greater time to be a filmmaker. And even your mobile phone, the new iPhones are 4K, so it's like
that's it. There's been movies that are shot entirely on phone, from what I've heard. So anything's possible. You know, you just have to have the drive, and it's like, you know, that's life. You know, if you don't take the risk, then you never do anything. You just be sitting at home all day, just being afraid. So taking a risk and failing even is better than doing nothing at all. That's ridiculous.
I think that's beautiful advice that I hope, you know what I mean, lots of, say, young people don't quite know yet would think, that hopefully that will speak to them and think, just be courageous and bet on yourself, and just think, you know, the minute you start understanding a problem, the sooner you can not be afraid of it and start fixing it. So that's
100%,
that's great words you said there. That's fantastic. And just going on to technology and stuff and having workarounds. When I started making films, all we had was the family camcorder and no editing equipment. to be honest, wasn't even sure what editing was, you know, that age. So what we used to do was just literally shoot in sequence. So we would literally do the shot. So we're doing the wide shot, and if we want a close up, we've got to do the close up to say it, and just that's how we edited. We shot in sequence. So there's a workaround. There's a workaround.
That's great though. I love that you did that, because it's like that's what it is. That's what it means. No matter what, you find something and then you make it work. You know, as long as you're doing it. So that's really great.
There'll always be excuses, you see, won't there? So you just got to think, let's just get it done. And there'll probably never be a perfect time. Just get things done and march through. So I think that's tremendous stuff there. Brilliant. So when you kind of put it all together and you first started looking at the finished edit and stuff like that, was there a part that you just thought, wow, that's exactly what I had in my head? That's beautiful. What was it like when you first started watching it? What were the initial reactions?
For my last one? my last scene, which is featuring myself, when I first edited it, I was really proud because I put a lot of effort into it. As an actor, you know, I don't mess around. If I have a character, I try to study it as much as possible. I try to live that character as much as possible. And just watching the edit the first time, I was so happy with it. And it wasn't just because of me, it was just everyone's effort and what we did. And it was like the ending one, and I was like, man, we did it. You know, it was such a sense of achievement. I can't say the rest for my other ones. I feel like because we like things to be such a certain way, and we're such perfectionists in some ways that we really want to make it good. So it's like, even if it might be really good to some, we're just like, oh, it needs to be better. You know, everyone's like that. As if you're a filmmaker, you always watch your films back and you try to criticize. That moment could have been shot different. You know what you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's terrific. Did you have like a screening when it was finished? Did you have a screening of the cast and crew, or was you able to do that?
We really wanted to have a big screening because there was just so many people involved. And we wanted to like have a night to celebrate all our hard work because it had been such a long journey. But even that premiere in itself was a lot of work because like obviously we're self-funded, you know, and we don't have all these resources. So I took care of organizing that entire event and messaging every single person. There was, because of COVID, we could only have 100 people, but even that is a lot of people.
You made a crowdfunding page.
We did. We made a crowdfunding page to help.
which is also the tickets.
Which was also the tickets to sort of take
great
care of
idea.
the venue sort of thing. And it was, you know, it took a lot to just get up to that, and converting the whole file to DCP format as well was another whole process.
It's a learning experience. We've never done it before.
Yeah.
So, and the funny story with that, Chris, we actually booked the cinema. Everything was done. A week later, we get an email back and they said, hey, so COVID's just starting right now. Do you think maybe we could kind of like postpone it for now? And we were just really, I think at that point, we were a little bit upset because we were talking to people that we know, asking advice what we should do. Because if we have to wait until COVID's over, it might take a year. And you just finish a product and you really want to release it. You don't want to wait a year, but in the end, we waited a year.
If Bond can do it, so can you.
If Bond can, yeah. That's like 2 years for them.
Yeah, he's still going, isn't he? Yeah.
Daniel Craig right now is probably just like, man, like I'm going to be an old man when this is done. But
I think he was 50 or something. You know, he's 54 now, so he must have been just over 50 then, I guess, when he started filming it. But you know, he's still doing it. So with I'm interested in the crowdfunding idea. That's a great idea for the premiere. What type of kind of incentives did they have then, if you were to do it? Was it just the tickets? Was there any other perks you did do that?
So it was mainly for the premiere because sort of everything else was collaboration based, and just any extra festivals really. So we did a GoFundMe, and it was mainly to the cast and crew because there was so many of them, and it was, you know, taking care of their ticket, their night, and then if they wanted to help us out in any way to get us into more festivals as well. And then we had a few family and friends as well who just wanted to help out, which was awesome. So
it was a great night though. It wasn't just like you pay the ticket and then you walk into the cinema and you watch it and you leave.
Get out.
We had
get out.
That's it. Get out. We really try to make it special. So we had a red carpet. We hired a photographer to take free photos.
Yeah, we had a whole Hollywood theme going on, so everyone got to dress up really nicely and come out.
Yeah, we had a little tiny after party just to celebrate it. So we really try to make it a special. So
it
was worth the ticket what they paid for.
Yeah, because that's really I really enjoy organising the premieres and stuff, and I think what you've said there is great because that's what you try and do. You then try and make everyone feel like the stars, and don't you get the carpet and you get the photos, and it's just generally a really lovely evening, really. And you know, hopefully the film's good as well. You know.
At the end of the night, everyone was I don't know, honest, but you know, they were saying it was great.
Yeah.
So,
I think you know during the screening, you know when you've hit the nail on the head, you know what I mean? So, and...
You know what's funny about the screening though? We had to do a speech. So after we had to sit down quickly and we were in the very front row. So the whole time we're like, what's everyone thinking? Because we couldn't turn our head.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Not once. We never got to see anyone's reaction. And we were at the very front. So if someone was to laugh, we couldn't hear it.
No, I stand at the back of the room and I'm watching everyone.
That's what we learned from that night.
I do the speech, then I get the fuck out of there and I go back to the front. I'm near the bar and I'm watching everyone, and I've had some successes and I've had some real problems as well. I've seen some jokes.
That's all right. That's how it works. You know, you just got to keep going.
Yeah, but it's a great experience for when you do gamble on things, because I now have the skill of when I'm editing or writing, if I'm not sure about something, I can put my head at a premiere down the road thinking, would I be happy watching that with all these people? And it might be, yes, that's great. It might be, no, let's just take that joke out. If you're really worried about it, it's probably not.
It's intuition, but you know, it's at the end of the day, it's art, it's subjective. You know, people are going to find it funny, some people are going to find it great, some are going to find it bad, but as long as you did it and you feel passionate about it, then who cares, you know?
Yes, correct. Yeah,
you can't you can't live off, you know, being fueled by other people's like opinions. Otherwise, when we were making this, we had people tell us, you shouldn't make this.
Yeah.
This isn't, you know what I mean? Like it's, the
cheers, Dad.
Cheers, there you go. But yeah, it's too sensitive sometimes.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do it like this. If we just listened to what they wanted, it would be a very different film. And I don't think it would be received as well as it was.
Not if we listened, no.
Definitely not.
There's a lot of people, because, you know, we really shone a light on the reality of, you know, the downfall of social media. And, you know, some people seemed a bit worried about that. They're like, well, we should show the positive side too. But this is a film, you know, you got to have some controversy too, you know, you got to keep people thinking.
Yeah, exactly. And if you can provoke them as well, that's kind of good. You kind of want a reaction, don't you? You don't always want to play it safe, and that's we need more of. And especially, you know, on the kind of format we've got, the kind of base of the career, if you will. If you can't take risks now, when the hell can you? You know what I mean? So
that's a good way to put it.
Because you might hit success, and the minute you might be successful, you might lose a lot of freedoms in terms of your creative things. If you're working for a studio, you might have executives then saying, well, no, you can't do that and you can't do that. So this might be the most creatively freedom you'll ever have. So make the most of it.
It really is.
Like you say, make the type of stuff you want to make and stuff, and hit it from there, really. So brilliant. So what's next on your filmmaking journeys?
Got a few things.
Oh,
good.
Well, we decided, because we just have done so many dramas, that we wanted to do a comedy for a change.
Good.
And being who we are, we always like to put ourselves in our films. We decided that we were going to make a pirate film. But no, I can see his face already. We wanted to make everything as accurate as possible, but just have like a different spin on it. Just have a very diverse spin on a pirate comedy, but not in the sense that it's like a silly comedy. It was a drama comedy. We just wanted to have some fun. You know, sometimes you got to make stuff and you just got to have a laugh.
When you said drama comedy, I thought the drama's sneaking back in there.
Sneaking back in.
It always does.
There were points when we were making, we're like, wait, this is too dramatic. We got to.
Yeah.
So that's why. Yeah.
So we collaborated with a friend of ours who does he has his own indie film company as well. And this guy he's so good with the comedy. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
And so we were like, we can't do this without someone who can bring that side to it. So we'd have meetings where he'd pull us back and be like, this is getting too dramatic. You know, we need to add something funny in here.
It was very, shout out to Ossium. But so that's one project. And then we also have, we went back to dramas. And we have 2 dramas coming out. But I can't say them. That's the thing, I don't want to say them yet. But
they're in the very pre-production phase, those other 2 at the moment. So they're again, these 2 actually, I've taken the lead of writing and directing these 2 this time, just because Sangeetha wants a bit of a break. So these 2 dramas are going to be like very much character studies. So we have one individual and we're focused on their life. It's just like a character study movie. What's in it, like Joker's a character example, like Joker, something like that. Not Joker, not that crazy,
but it's just based on one person, and it'll have a very raw sense to it.
Nice. Okay, and that's what's kind of cooking at the minute, you say? Brilliant. And when can we expect to see these, do you reckon? This is pressure now.
I would say
next week, or?
Oh man, I wish.
That's a lot of pressure.
Maybe May onwards.
Like a few months, I think, for the character study ones.
Well,
Because
my
they're pretty short.
birthday's May 10th, so if you can get it ready for that, that'll be good.
Right, we'll
May
release
10th.
it and we'll tag him and we'll say
Happy
happy birthday, Chris. But yeah, around that time, and then the other one's what, mid-year?
Yeah, the pirate one is going to be a bit more difficult because obviously all the costuming and everything, location. So that'll be a bit later in the year.
Yeah, so just throughout the year. Throughout the year, we're always making things throughout the year.
Sounds great, perfect. Yeah, very similar, really. So with the pirate one, is that going to be quite popular? You're going to need a slightly bigger budget, do you reckon, for that, for something that's period and?
Well, like, yeah, we're doing what we can. Again, we don't have like a budget really. It's again more of a collaboration thing. But so we did a few promo clips for the actual film, and my background, I come from a family who are into fashion design. So I sort of have that knowledge of what looks right and what doesn't in terms of costuming. So I've actually taken on board costuming, and in order to do that, I went to, the Vinnie's, Salvo's, thrift shops. And then I just sort of gone through all the clothes and been like, okay, that could work. And it's a way to do it that's very cost effective. And then if you know what looks right, it just works still.
Yeah. Well, there was no grant for this one, but we did actually apply for a grant for another project. So why don't you, because you found that one.
Yeah, so we did apply for a grant after Social Murder. We're like, we'd love to get paid to do this.
We'd like to have a bit more of a
bit more funding.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was an initiative going through Sydney for series actually. And so we've applied for that. We'll find out at the end of April. But if we do get that, we get to go to a workshop and sort of write the scripts for the series. And then from there, you could get funding to actually make it.
Yeah, that one, because we found out pretty late on. So we had about 3 days to think of the idea. I remember one day, Chris, I was just like, we were just not getting it. So I was like, let's take a drive. We took a 1 hour drive to a place. And the whole time we were just talking about different ideas. And we took an hour back. And then by the end of it, we did think of actually, luckily we did think
and
of
then we had like till 5 p.m. on the Wednesday to submit it. I was up till like 3 a.m. like on the computer. We just did it on time. So
yeah, but I think that's I think
good on you. Yeah.
Our career or our life as an independent filmmaker, you make enough films and hopefully you submit them to festivals and hopefully you can get some sort of credibility. And with that credibility and awards and recognition, you can use it as credibility to bigger things and just keep building it like that. So it's not like, oh, you need to be born in a wealthy family or you can find an investor and stuff. You can build your way up.
Yeah.
But you just have to have quality work, I think, and you just got to have a lot of dedication and hard work. And I think could work like that.
Yeah. I mean, just you touched on there about the kind of importance of, festivals and that. Was there any amazing festivals you submitted to last year that you thought was really good? And I know Brand Britain's having a very good week at the minute, maybe.
There was a very awesome festival.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was called
the British Web Awards.
I've heard of it too. It sounds really cool.
But in all honesty, you guys were fantastic.
Yeah.
Just with watching your presentations and the way that you deliver things and just knowing the amount of films that you had to go through, your team.
Yeah, and honestly, like the fact that you guys did watch all the series, like it wasn't just one thing. Like I understand some festivals might not have time, but it really means a lot when they actually watched the whole thing. And then to get the recognition that you guys gave us, honestly, it meant the world to us. Like it was so awesome to get the news. And But our team was really happy and excited about it, and excited to be a part of this festival.
Yeah,
So,
it was awesome, and I was watching the presentations, and that's the thing. It was like, it was just like, oh, and then the winner is this, and then it was very well done, I think.
Yeah,
so,
we got up really early to watch the announcements. Sitting there, like.
The biggest thing that when I'm like looking at that, or even the pages, that like these guys, they really put the effort in. Because you know, when you are an indie filmmaker, you do go through a bunch of festivals, and you always check what they like or what they do. And I think with the British one, you know, definitely.
It felt very valued, and it felt like you were very seen.
Professional as well.
And professional, yeah. But just as an indie filmmaker as well, like there's a lot of festivals that it feels like you're not even going to get watched at all because they just want to look at someone who's a bit more higher than you. So
definitely, that's a very good point. I think with this one, it was kind of like inclusive to everyone, you know. It wasn't trying to judge anyone. I mean, look at us, we're very diverse. You know what I mean? There was no limits. It was very heartwarming to think and realize that.
So thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. It was a bit like when we're talking about premieres, it was about trying to make an evening that's all about you guys, and it's all about your work, and it's about trying to put the spotlight on that and trying to bridge that gap between kind of the web series and the main industry, and try and bring the two together, because it is anyway now, it's colliding as we speak. So that was one of the things I wanted to do, was bring the two worlds together and bring in as many kind of announcers and people in there, and just to say well done to, you know, you guys for doing it. So yeah, so to get good feedback back, it's very it's very heartwarming, and it's very gratifying as well. You feel great because you think, yeah, that's great. That's what we were trying to do. So when you hear that was the effect it made, you think that's perfect. Yeah, because it's a bit like the web series. When you put it online, you don't see people's reactions. So when you're saying how much you enjoyed it, you think, oh, that's great. I wish we could have seen it. You know what I mean? So that's
because you told me about this interview, right? And then I didn't know about it. You said, oh, he's, you know, Chris is doing interviews, and then I'm like, what? I said, yeah, I'll do it. Anything. I'll do anything for it. And then you're like, what time? Like 7. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Let's go. Let's do it. If it's for this festival, then yes.
Yeah.
I like your style. It's good. Well, I must say that's been literally genuinely, that's been a wonderful pleasure. I've really enjoyed chatting to you guys, and again, I said near the beginning, but I applaud not only what you do, I applaud the way you go about doing it. I think that's tremendous, and you don't let anything stop you, and you've given out some wonderful advice to people about just pursuing their dreams and stuff, and I think that's inspirational, and I've thoroughly enjoyed that, and I think this is it's been great. So thank you very much for your time and for discussing all those things.
No, likewise. You've been a very great host. You know, I felt very comfortable.
Yeah, just having a chat.
Yeah, it was like with a friend, you know. Even though
we've never like to do it. That's the problem, isn't it?
That's Chris's magic, though. So thank you so much.
No, that's the pleasure. I enjoyed. I just try and follow the flow of the conversation. And that's been delightful, and that's been really, like I say, really engaging. I've thoroughly enjoyed that. That's great. So hopefully, when you finish your films in a couple of days. Or May 10th, I think we've negotiated that. We'll hopefully see some more of your work, and hopefully either way you can come back on and even to be interviewed, just to tell us what you're up to with stuff and stay in touch. Really, I'd like that very much, because we are a community, and it's lovely to do this, especially if we've got an online festival. It's lovely to then at least touch base like this if we can, and maybe we'll do some group Zooms with some other creators as well. That might be fun to do as well. So
we'd definitely like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I say I love chatting to you guys. It's fantastic. So brilliant. Well,
it's great. Yeah.
Well, brilliant. Well,
all right. Well,
we'll catch up soon, guys.
Yeah. We'll get our coffee. You'll get another round of coffee as well. So time to start the day.